Berlin, about a year ago. 3 months working as a team lead at Outfittery. I wake up feeling pretty good. Even though I'm Brazilian and it wasn't warm enough outside to keep the jacket in the closet, the sun was shining and the sky was beautiful blue, just like today. I could just stare at the lake today all day long. I close the door, I go into the U-Bahn, and I have the head full of ideas that I want to put in practice today. All I can think is, I'm gonna do some serious coding today, man. And then I get to work. I open my laptop, I check my calendar, oops, and I realize I have the worst kind of day ahead of me. A day full of back-to-back meetings with a few free time slots in between and no time to work on the things I had in my head in first place. I realize I'm drowning. I realize I have to get out of the old developer mindset where I had time to work on one thing at a time. And I need to adapt. I need to become a team lead. I need to adapt my workload to the new mode. Otherwise, I'm gonna go nuts. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy working as a team lead. There are many things I like about it. But let's face it, interruptions are part of the job description. You gotta attend meetings. You gotta do one-on-ones with your team. You gotta jump into production bugs. But on the other hand, deep in my soul, I'm a programmer. I'm used to spend time working on stuff for hours, and I cannot focus on something knowing that in 10 minutes from now, I need to switch to something else. It just makes me nervous and super unproductive. My work life couldn't just be about attending meetings and reacting to things all the time. I needed to respect myself. I needed to set aside time for the things that I value. I needed to set aside time to have fun. I needed to have pleasure in my work life. Otherwise, I would just burn myself out within months, if not weeks. And I made it happen. I made it happen by focusing on these 4 topics. But before talking about time and what I did about the organization of my time, I'm gonna go back a little bit. I'm gonna go back to Greece and talk about a statue, a talking statue. This talking statue was called by the locals Socrates. And it was a very fun statue because used to tell people passing by, hey, you gotta know yourself. And so I decided to look at myself. I needed to know the things that I value before I could do anything about the organization of my work life. So I looked at myself. And the first thing I realized is I need to go out for lunch. I really need. I don't care how cold it is outside. I need to stretch my legs. I need to switch contexts. I need to text my friends in Brazil. I need to take a look at the memes that my dad sends to me on a almost hourly basis. I need this time to just chill out, because otherwise I get super exhausted and I don't deliver anything by the end of the day. Second thing I realized, I can get through mornings, but I'm much more productive in the afternoon. Afternoon is when I like to jump onto things. It's when I like to, invest time looking at the things that need attention. And as I said before, I'm not good at context switching. I'm not used to do stuff for 30 minutes and then jumping on something else. I cannot focus on something if I know I'm gonna stop in 10 minutes from now. And working as a team lead, as most of you, I need time to think before responding. I need to put together an answer. I need to think about all various angles that need to be considered before coming up with an answer to someone. And so, based on those traits of myself, first thing I did is, lunchtime is me time. I don't care. I'm not doing lunchtime meetings. I need this time for myself. On top of that, afternoon is also for myself. It's for myself to produce, because otherwise I would burn myself out. I wouldn't deliver anything. it's not like I'm super strict about it. I don't do this on every day, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, from 1:30 to 5, if you want to book a meeting with me, come and talk to me. I mean, it's my time. I guess it's only fair that I get to decide what to do about it. Any other time, any other day, mornings, Thursdays, all day long, you need me, I'll be there. Just book it on my calendar. No worries, no hard feelings. But on these days, I need to feel productive. Third thing I did, I just bounced meetings completely. I mean, every time I realize 5 people sitting in a room could be replaced with an email thread, I would just fire the email. I know we are used to hear people saying, emails are things from the past. I guess we went too much in the other direction, where we're just taking people out of their productivity zone just to sit and fill 30 minutes with random topics. And I think we need to find some kind of middle ground there. So meetings, I just bounce them as hard as possible. And if I don't have anything to add to a meeting, I just won't go. It makes no sense. And every time it's really necessary for me to attend a meeting, I'll be that pain in the neck guy constantly asking, are we done here? Are we done here? Are we done here? Meetings are not supposed to be filled with chit-chat. Save chit-chat for after work, for bar or whatever. If you're in the office, let's be productive. Let's not just fill time with random topics. Fourth thing I did about my time, I just delegated as much as possible. I trust the people in my team to do the work. They can do most of the work much better than I can do in many topics. So if there is something that I can pass the ball to someone else, I would just do it. It's not about getting rid of stuff. It's about what the team can deliver. It's about the team delivering faster. It's not about myself. And so every time there was a meeting that someone on the team needed to attend, if there was someone else with more knowledge on that, I would just delegate it to that person. And eventually I came up with some kind of quadrant to help me prioritize the things that I need to take care of myself. I mean, it's pretty basic, but also pretty simple in the sense that it allows me to think in terms of myself. So there are things that I need to take care of as a team lead and that are quite urgent. For instance, usually money is quite important. People usually care about the salary. So if someone needs a salary raise, I'll just take care of it right now. I'll just go to HR and take care of that raise to that person. There are other things. There are people equally capable of taking care of them without overloading myself. For instance, if we have a production bug, first thing you think is a team lead responsibility. Not so sure, at least from my perspective. People in my team, there are more people in my team than just myself. They can deliver much faster than I. So why not delegating this kind of thing to someone else in the team? There are things that only I can do, but they can wait, like reviewing CVs or deciding where we're gonna do our next party. Those are fine. I can take care of them later. And there are things that anyone can do at any point in time. Eventually they can become items in our backlog and anyone on the team can work on them. So this really helped reducing the stress on myself, because in the end we don't want to spend 8 hours of our day just getting stressed. We also want to have fun, right? I mean, it's 1/3 of our day. It better be fun. So the first thing I did in order to have more fun is look at myself again. So first, like I said, I love programming. I love the fact that I get to solve different puzzles every single day, and they are always different. But I'm also a team lead. I also enjoy watching people becoming great professionals. And I really hate being a bottleneck. When I'm the bottleneck, the team's not delivering. If I'm gone on vacation and the team doesn't deliver, they start calling me and I don't have proper vacation, and I really like my vacations. So first thing I did was just getting out of the team's way. So the important things The things that couldn't be late, I would just leave them for up to the team. The team was responsible for them. Every once in a while, when I would have time to have fun, I would take a low priority task and work on it. Anything that didn't block the team. And this way I could still have fun. Or on the other hand, if there was something really high priority, something that needed to be speeded up and get released as soon as possible, I would also take it, because it was also a means for me to skip meetings. So getting out of the way of the team was something really, really good for me. The second thing was setting aside specific time frame for everyone to study, to do whatever they want, as long as it was work related. So this was something that I wanted to do for myself. But as a team lead, I cannot be selfish. If something applies to me, it needs to be applicable to the rest of the team. So we agreed that Friday afternoons, everybody's free to do whatever they want, as long as it's work related. And it was interesting that later on, my CTO came to me and asked, "Did you really do this or not?" "We're doing it." "No, keep it up, cool." So, yeah, and for me, it was really important to have both of this, because then I could chill out from all those meetings that I needed to attend and do some refactoring, or look into our Sonar Cube and tackle code smells, or do some refactoring. Do anything that makes me tick. And that made me feel a lot more pleasure out of my work. But nothing made me feel more pleasure than what comes next. As a team lead, sometimes it takes time for us to realize the many beautiful things that we can do to people's life. I'll tell you the story about this guy. Where's the picture? Come on. Sorry, guys. The picture is not there. Anyway, there should be a guy there. Problem with the download, last minute download. Best developer I've ever had. This guy's brain could take huge amounts of information. I mean, he could tell you by heart business rules that belong to other teams. He could tell you where to look for code without even opening up his laptop. Super committed, super nice person, best ever. He was also responsible for a business critical project by the end of last year, in November. For several reasons, it got delayed. And guess when this guy, that is not in the picture, wanted to have vacations. Of course, it was the same week. He wanted to go back home to be with his family. And this guy was so committed that he was not asking. He was, as a matter of fact, stating that he would waste 2 of his vacation days to work remotely and monitor stuff, without even asking for those 2 days to be converted to regular work days. And that didn't feel right. I still remember I used to do the same. I put work in high priority, just so that later on regret that I've done it and that I had spent so much less time with my family. And so I realized, as a team lead, I had the resources to do something good by others. Instead of him wasting vacation time or time with his family to do work and not getting paid for it, we agreed he would get paid for those 2 days, work remotely, and then he would take another 2 days off whenever suit him best. To me, that was really, really good. I don't know in your history, in your companies, in your jobs, but no one ever told me, "Hey, take some vacation days back." Usually, it's just like book some time. You're responsible for it. So being able to do this was really really great. And it's not the only good thing you can do. I mean, giving a raise to someone. I remember back in Brazil, I would work my ass off for an entire year, just to have my manager say, "Yeah, well, even though you deserve it, we cannot afford a pay raise to you right now." And that made me feel really, really bad. And so, as a team lead, I finally had the opportunity to do something different. I finally had the opportunity to be the boss I wish someone else had been to me. And that was great. I mean, seeing the smile on someone's face when I give them a raise, well, if they felt happy, they have no idea how much happier I felt for being able to do right by them, to be the boss I wanted someone else had been to me. And make no mistake, the things that we say as team leads, they have much more weight than when you're a developer. I guess you all know that. As a developer, when you tap on someone's shoulder and say, "Hey, nice job," that person is just gonna say, "Okay." But as a team lead, I've seen that the same person, when I tap on his shoulder and tell him, "Nice work," well, I'm making someone's day. And so to be able to watch people become better professionals, to make someone happier with just a simple compliment, all of this makes me feel great as a team lead. I mean, in times where people are desperately seeking for human kindness, being able to be that kind of guy that distributes kindness, that is good to people, what else could I want? Getting paid to do that is awesome. But of course, I keep talking about others, what to make by others. Wow, how to make other people's lives easier. And we often ask ourselves, what about me? What about my success? And as a team lead, it took me a while to develop a sense of recognizing success, or how to know I was being successful or not. Because as a developer, it's quite easy to measure success. I mean, you have comments on pull requests telling you how good you're doing. You have SonarQube statistics saying how much you have improved your code base. You have logs stating unambiguously that your solution has integrated seamlessly with the rest of the code base. You have alerts that, well, when they don't go off, then everything's fine and you're doing fine. And that's the point. As a team lead, things are much more subtle. You have to actively listen. You have to actively look out for feedback. In case you have been to Brian Milner's brilliant talk earlier today, when he said you gotta open your ears and actively listen, it's all about it. When you're a team lead, extracting feedback or identifying how good you're doing is much more difficult. You have to look out for feedback. I can give you a few examples. When I first started out Fittery, we agreed with the team that we would do regular rounds of one-on-ones on a monthly basis. There was this guy called Dimitri, backend developer, super nice person, super competent, super concerned about quality. He really wanted to do something good. And on our first one-on-one, he had like 10 items on his list. It was freaking huge. And back then I used to have around 10 developers. And so on each one of those 10 meetings, I would walk out feeling completely overwhelmed. And after 3 months or after two months on a third round of one-on-ones, Dimitri and I went into a room and I asked him, "Hey, what's up? What can be improved?" And he was like, "Everything's fine." I was like, "What? Really? In 3 months?" And it took me another 3 months to realize how big a feedback that was to me as a team lead. Because it's a huge achievement to go from going out of the room feeling overwhelmed to having close to 0 complaints in such a short span of time. Another example I can give is after 6 months of me working at Fittery, Jesper and Luca, our CTO and head of product, wanted to introduce the concept of end-to-end teams. So business and tech working more closely together. Massive cultural change to everyone, of course. And obviously that generated concerns. And on the next round of one-on-ones, the question I heard more often was, "Are you still gonna be my team lead?" And those people had no idea how big a gift they were giving me, how big a recognition they were giving to me, just by asking this very simple question, because it meant I was doing the right things. They wanted to stick with me. One last example. When I started at Fittery, I wanted to introduce change in code culture. I wanted people to be more aware of things like splitting responsibilities, code quality, uh, clean code, solid principles, etc. And so we started a book club. Every 2 weeks, we would get together to discuss a chapter from Clean Code book from Uncle Bob. It took a while, but eventually I started seeing the difference. I would see in the pull requests that people were concerned about writing smaller classes, about splitting responsibilities, all of the things that we had discussed. And to me, that was huge feedback. I felt so happy about it to see that the effort that I had put on such a thing was paying off. So those are examples of things that they're not there. There's no neon light screaming, "Hey, you're being successful." There is no reports. There are no alerts. You have to actively look out for feedback. A few months ago, a developer in my team called Faizan, super nice guy, always has a huge smile on his face, super fast. He came to me and Jesper and said, I would like to become a team lead. We said, okay, why would you like to do that? And he said, I see this as a career progression. And immediately we stopped the conversation. In my eyes, becoming a team lead is something completely different. It's a completely different turn in the road. Because you may be a very good developer, but being a team lead is definitely not about the code. You may write beautiful code, beautifully object-oriented or functional code, and still you're not necessarily going to be a great developer or a great team lead. And it's definitely not about looking cool. I mean, it's going to get dirty and messy many, many times. And if you want to become a team lead just because you think it's cool, don't do it. You're going to be disappointed. In my eyes, in my opinion, being a team lead in the end is about people. It's about understanding what's important to people, what matters to them, what are the things that they need, what are the challenges that fit their career progression. It's looking out for people. If you're a code person and you don't care so much about people, then you're probably going in the wrong direction. Don't do it to yourself. You're gonna be frustrated. So, balancing meetings, focusing on good news, setting aside time for fun, all of this required a lot of discipline to me. It took me a long time to realize I needed to organize my time if I wanted our team to deliver while also having fun. And it took me months to re-engineer my mindset so that I could ignore the need for hard and fast rules and focus on implicit good news. But it paid off. This is an example. This is Sebi. You cannot see Sebi, but you can see his outfittery socks. And this is him spending his vacation on Tuscany, completely chill, stress-free. This guy had an amazing feedback evolution. In 6 months, he jumped from middle level, let's say, to one of the highest grades we had. And I worked really hard to make this guy improve his 360 feedback. So to see him chilling out like this, to me, is a great prize. And just like him, I'm much more relaxed nowadays. I'm much more relaxed than I've ever been as a team lead. Everybody goes home by the time they want. Even though we continue to work on business critical projects, nobody needs to work weekends or anything like that. Everybody enjoys their vacation, and I still have time to speak about it, which is awesome. So to me, that's being successful. And to finish, I would like to leave you with a quote from a very famous captain of the 7 Seas, Captain Jack Sparrow. Because to me, being a team lead is about this every day, all day long. Everybody's going to have problems. Everybody's going to face problems regardless of their profession or their position. But as a team lead, what really counts is your attitude towards the problem. It's about how you deal with problems. You cannot freak out. Because if you freak out, your team's going to freak out with you. And in the end, it's not about yourself. It's about the team. It's about the team delivery. You as a team lead, you're not the rock star. The team is the rock star. It's all about the team. Thank you.